Can Mark Wahlberg play the role of Raphael? Yeah. Raphael in the book, we're talking about the Book of Tobit, an adaptation from the biblical text. It's in Catholic Orthodox Christian Bibles. It's in the back of Jewish history. 1.5 billion people know the story from their religious training. It's in half the Bibles. And there's an angel named Raphael. Now, Protestants are not so familiar with Raphael. The Lutheran Church in America, in the United States, took Tobit out of the Bible in 1923. And I asked a Catholic priest in Dublin, an Irish Catholic priest, highly educated and very versed in politics. And he said, well, isn't that curious? That was taken out of the Protestant Bible in 1923, 4 years after the American participation in World War I. So he pointed out the bias and the anti-Catholic sentiment after World War I. A Catholic movie was doomed. They did make a silent film based on Tobit, but that was 100 years ago. And I think 1.5 billion people that know the story of Raphael fighting the demon Asmodeus from their religious text, the Bible, is a no-brainer. The film should be made because they know the story from print, and they're waiting for Hollywood to make that film. And 1.5 billion people, and 70% of them speak English. We're talking about huge populations in Africa that are Christian and Catholic. Europe, Catholic populations in the United States. You add it all up, and there are 1.3 billion Catholics. Everybody wants to break into China. The Chinese government, my PhD is in totalitarian government, and so my expertise was Soviet Union, Cuba, North Korea, Venezuela, and China has always kind of been left out of the list of totalitarian governments, but now that they've become a antagonist in the South China Sea, maybe our future enemy, people are really looking at China. I mentioned China because the Catholic population in China is growing leaps and bounds, really scaring the Chinese leaders, and they're trying to organize against the Catholic Church. There's 3 or 4 cardinals, archbishops. The Cardinal Zen, believe it or not, the Cardinal Zen in Hong Kong is influencing a huge number of Chinese, and the Chinese population is coming over to the church. Now, why did I mention that? It's just the demographics. A lot of people would want to see somebody like Mark Wahlberg as Raphael. Well, like the story is the nice Jewish girl, and I have her set in London, is being preyed upon by a demon, Asmodeus. Every time she gets married, Asmodeus comes and kills her husband. The weddings are never consummated. They never make the marriage bed. And a lot of people around the world are taught this from when they're little kids. Now, in my experience, the nuns kind of leave the part out about the marriage being unconsummated. They skip over that for little kids. But little kids know what a wedding is. It doesn't take them long to figure out what a widow is. And they know that in the Old Testament there was a woman who was married 7 times. And 7 times a demon comes and kills her new husband. Yeah, the moral of the story is she doesn't become despondent. Maybe for a few seconds there, but she thinks about it and she resists suicide. She does pray that God send an angel to take care of the situation, and God sends Raphael. God sends Mark Wahlberg to beat up the demon. I don't think it's a secret. It's a 3,000-year-old story. It's in the Bible. It's like 8 pages in most Bibles. And, of course, Raphael is going to defeat the demon, ties him up, rolls him down the hill into the Thames, and the demon sinks into the water. And he's bound, so no telling how long the demon will be there. And, yeah, it's not ruining the story. I encouraged other people in other interviews to read the Bible and then read my screenplay. And the guy emails me, what are you telling people? Why are you sending this to people? I said, why? What's the problem? They're going to steal it. And I said, dude, it's a 3,000-year-old story. It's in 1.5 billion Bibles. Little kids are taught this story when they're in their religious training. You and your viewers might not have, this may be a new story for you, but globally, it's probably the greatest story never told on film. Yeah, all the stories in the Bible have been put on film, except for Tobit. I don't know if I mentioned this. I talked to a Lutheran minister, and he said it's taken out of the Bible because of the magic. The Catholic priest said it's because of the politics. But, there is magic in the story, and demons and angels fighting one another in the street of London, and the demon getting rolled up and rolled into the Thames. If that's magic. There is also, I don't know if we want to say, magic happens in the Bible and we call it a miracle, but if it's Catholic magic, it's not called a miracle. It's taken out of the Bible. But it's Hollywood. Magic happens. Industrial light and magic. We do that. Half of the films, and probably the most successful films, all have elements of magic. So, and a Russian guy said, "Oh, this is way too controversial." And my response to that is, well, I'm in America. Controversy makes money. If there's a few Catholic Protestant supporters, protesters, Catholic supporters and Protestant detractors, well, that's just going to make some interesting press. It's one of the great stories of the Bible. There have been studies about likability on a per page basis. And Tobit gets 8 pages, and he has better likability ratings than Moses and Noah, and on a per page basis. Yeah, Jesus is number 1. Abraham and Noah and Moses is in the top 5, but Tobit's right there on a per capita or per page basis. Very likable guy. Well, he's pious, charitable, takes care of strangers, takes care of his family. The reason for the whole story is because Tobit needs to take care of his wife and his son. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg would knock it out of the park. Physically fit. We like Mark Wahlberg. He's likable, angelic, in that we can see him kicking a demon around a bit. Yeah, it's the action hero. I don't see. It's kind of a no-brainer. Number one, we make the film because of the 1.5 billion people who know the text and are waiting for the film. It's never been filmed. And number two, the second no-brainer is Raphael needs to come from an action hero place. And we're used to Mark Wahlberg taking care of business, and Raphael does that.